Hey, welcome to Road to Forever. It's Terry, and I'm so excited you're joining me for this video where I'll be doing a bone broth review. So if you've been wondering what is the best bone broth to buy, then this is the video that you've been looking for. In my stomach ulcer video, one of the things that I talked about was the importance of bone broth in my healing process. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll link it in the description down below. I talk about how I healed my stomach ulcer naturally with no medications at all, and bone broth was one of the things that was instrumental in my healing process. Now, I have another video where I show you how to make homemade bone broth, but if you are strapped for time and you're like, I don't want to spend 16 to 24 hours slow cooking and finding ingredients for bone broth, then in this video, I'm going to show you which bone broth I use at home and why I think this bone broth is the best one that is on the market. Now, if you saw my ulcer video, you know that all of those products that I talked about, they weren't sponsored at all. I wasn't being paid by the company. I was honestly just sharing, things that I like, that I purchased with my own money. And even in this video, the bone broth that I'm going to be sharing is one that I purchased with my own money and that I've continued to incorporate in my diet even after healing my stomach ulcer because of the benefits with this bone broth. And one of the things I talked about in my how to make bone broth at home video was the importance of the ingredients that you select for bone broth, and the reason why you should make sure that you're selecting organic ingredients, because you're going to be slow cooking, these things for 16 to 24 hours. And so you're getting all of these nutrients coming out of these vegetables or these meat bones. And you want to make sure that you have the best sources because you're going to be putting this in your body for healing. So you want to make sure that you select the right type of bone broth. Now, I know that there are several different kinds of bone broth on the market, and you're probably like, well, if it's so good for me, then it shouldn't matter which brand I'm using, and I'll just buy the cheapest brand available. And I can tell you, I definitely tried that before, right? I went and I bought another brand that was also, considered a good brand, but it was a bit cheaper. And from a taste profile, I wasn't a big fan. And so for me, someone who's Caribbean, taste and flavor is really important. And so that was definitely something that I was looking for when I was selecting which bone broth I was going to add to my diet. And, people always make fun of me because I'm like a researcher. I'm that person who will spend days, hours, sometimes even weeks researching a product before I purchase it because I want to make sure that it really does have these clean ingredients that it's saying it has on the label. I want to make sure, does it really have this USDA stamp of approval? Is it really organic? Are these products that they're putting in really the best products to work together to achieve what, it's purporting to do? So I spend hours and hours really researching and making sure that I'm selecting the best thing to put in my body. And sometimes price cannot matter. You want to know why? Your health is important. And so if you have to spend $2 or $3 more for your health, then it's worth it, because it's better to spend $2 or $3 now on something than later on you get sick and you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get your health back. So, for me, I started really focusing on what was so good about this particular brand and why I think it's the best one on the market. Now, I love bone broth, and there's so many benefits for bone broth. And for me, one of the reasons why I love bone broth, obviously it's a source of protein, right? So it has collagen in it. In your bone broth, sometimes you should be able to get at least 10 grams of protein just from your bone broth. Also, one of the things I mentioned in my stomach ulcer video was that bone broth is packed with the amino acids glycine and proline, and these are great because they have anti-inflammatory properties. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Also, with bone broth, they'll have B vitamins. B vitamins are really important, play a key role in your metabolism. So definitely another reason to incorporate bone broth in your diet. And there's so many other wonderful benefits with bone broth. If you're someone who has issues with like your joints, bone broth also has glucosamine and chondroitin. So that's going to support your joint health. So definitely a great benefit to having bone broth. So now the bone broth that I use and that I love and why I think it's the best is definitely Kettle and Fire. And there are several reasons why I believe this is the best bone broth. And I will have a link in the description box down below so that you could get it directly from their website. You can also get it from Amazon if you'd like. It's in most of your supermarkets. And I have done tons and tons of research, and I can tell you that Kettle and Fire is definitely the best bone broth out there. You've seen in my ulcer video, at the time I had the black packaging, so they recently changed their packaging for their bone broth. And so that's a little bit different. So this is what I have at home, and my favorite flavor is definitely the mushroom chicken flavor. So they have all these different flavors. They have chicken, plain chicken. They have beef. They have a flavor where there's turmeric added, so for extra anti-inflammatory properties. But I really love the flavoring on this mushroom chicken. And so I also love this because, again, with this particular brand, this is a shelf-stable brand. So you're able to keep this in your cabinet. And so what happens is once you open it, then you obviously have to refrigerate it. But there are 2 servings in here. So, this is the brand I'll recommend. And so what I love about Kettle and Fire and their bone broth, so you can see it has organic chicken bones. If you look at their ingredients, they also have, you can see here, all of the things in this bone broth is organic. So organic onions, organic carrots, organic leeks, organic apple cider vinegar. All of these things are organic. If you're someone who is gluten-free, this is gluten-free. If you're someone who does Whole30 or paleo, this is definitely Whole30 and paleo friendly. And so for me, I really started, drinking bone broth, obviously because I was dealing my stomach ulcer, but this is also good for you if you have leaky gut, you're dealing with gastritis. This might be something that you may want to consider incorporating in your diet. Obviously, before you make any changes to your diet plan, you want to talk to your healthcare provider to make sure that's safe for you. This is what worked for me. I spent hours researching, and this is the brand that I believe is definitely the best brand on the market in terms of bone broth. So let me just give you some more information about Kettle and Fire. So if you're interested, you can check them out yourself. And like I said, I'll have a link in the description if you want to go to their site. Sometimes I actually think it's cheaper to buy it directly from their website than to buy it from, some of the other stores, because, obviously, the other stores are going to make a profit. They're going to mark it up a little bit. But when you buy on their website, you can get like a bulk deal for cheaper. Every once in a while, I've also found this at Whole Foods on sale. So whenever it's on sale at Whole Foods, I'm definitely in there picking up a bunch of this at one time. And my husband, who is really picky and, is not a fan of things like this, also was like, oh yeah, this actually does taste good. So the mushroom chicken flavor is good one. It's a good one if you're someone who's picky and you don't like, certain flavors. So this is definitely something I would say is a must add to your diet, especially for the anti-inflammatory properties, the fact that it has protein, it tastes good, and it's only 50 calories per serving. So, it's not like it's going to throw you over your caloric balance for the day. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Kettle and Fire and why I love them so much. So one of the things that I love about Kettle and Fire is that their bone broth is slow simmered for over 20 hours. And so they actually combine the marrow bones with organic vegetables in filtered water. They put them in steel kettles and they slow simmer them for 20 to 24 hours at 130 degrees. And so with that time period, it actually gives time for the nutrients, the collagens, and the amino acids to soak into the broth. And so that's one of the things that I love about this brand. Also, this is one of those brands that it's easy to heat up. So in 5 minutes, you can just pour it in your mug. You can microwave it for a minute and it's ready to go, or you can slow simmer it on the stove. And then you can actually, when you buy it in the packaging that I was just showing you previously, you can actually store it on your shelf for up to 2 years. So that's something that I think is awesome. It's not something that's going to take up a lot of space in your refrigerator. You don't have to worry about spending money on it and it going bad. I also love with this particular brand, that there are no additives or preservatives. There's no antibiotics or hormones. There's no artificial flavors or colors, and there's no extra sodium. So it has everything that you need for a perfect bone broth combination. And so this is why Kettle and Fire is my favorite brand of bone broth. All right, guys, so as you can see, I believe Kettle Fire is the best bone broth out there. If you enjoyed this video, I ask that you give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe for more awesome content just like this. But before you leave, I want to remind you, you're only one prayer away. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Take care.